Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Program with Scientier. At least I assume it's a welcome back since this is part 7 of the Task Tracker program. If you did not watch the previous parts, that's cool. You'll be lost, but maybe you can catch up. So last time I went about adding a dialog that allows me to add categories, and I said what I wanted to do today was to make it so that we can actually see those categories over here when we add them. So let's go about doing that thing that I just said is what I wanted to do. Okay, so probably the easiest, most straightforward way of doing this is to go ahead and make a function, and I'm just going to call it like, I don't know, public void add category. Yeah, that seems good. Category, category. Cool. So before I forget to do anything, why is this? Oh, this is probably internal. That will probably not be the last time that happens. Okay, so I want to do it after here. After setting everything up, add the category. So I'm going to go category, let's see, category view control dot add category, category. Okay. We want to make sure we have everything set up before we do this, and now I need to figure out how I'm going to do this. So I need a tree view node, what are these things called? I thought it was a tree view node. It might be a tree node. It might just be a tree node. Okay. Tree node cat equals new tree node. Now this, I believe, can take a name. So let's just give it the category dot name. Let's go cat dot tag equals category, because that's probably, actually, you know what? You know what would actually be a really good idea is, okay, so I'm going to add something because it's going to simplify a lot later on. I'm going to go ahead and make a public int id get private set. Okay, so what this is going to do right here is this is going to say id equals all categories dot count. So what this is going to do is when we add a category, it's going to assign it an ID based upon the number of categories that exist, and then we can read that ID from other stuff. Nothing else can mess with it because that's what private set does. Really cool. I like being able to do that. What is significant about this is over here is that what this means is we can just go category.id. Note that if I go category.id equals like 3, it's like, yo dog, that's private, so you can't get to it. And I'm like, okay. And this is not C++, where we can completely ignore everything with pointers. Hashtag don't do that. Adds a category to this display. Okay. So the category to add. I like to comment stuff that's not just like simple functions. That's actually like not event response functions, but it's functions that do stuff, or like, yeah. So the thing with this tree node cat is that we need to figure out where it belongs. So the first thing we need to do is if category.parent is equal to null, then we can just go category list dot nodes dot add cat. Boom, added. Simple as that. However, if this has a parent, we have to find it. So that sounds inconvenient. However, I think there might be an easy way of doing this. So I'm going to make a list of tree nodes, and I'm going to call this, wow, category nodes. And the reason why I'm doing this is I can just come in here. So we've made cat. We're going to go category nodes.add cat. Because then what we can do is, if it has a parent, we can go category nodes category.parent.id nodes.add cat. Okay, so if I have not gone crazy and in fact set this thing up in a way that works, this should work. Hopefully. Yeah, of course we have the familiar wait for this to load. Let's just clear out some of those excess things while we're waiting for this to load so we can test stuff. I don't entirely know why it has this much time associated with loading, but it's just something that happens. So, new category. Obviously, we can't add it to anything, so let's just call this test1. Hitting enter there makes it go bing at us because that's what it does. Okay, so we have a test1. So what we want now is we want to add a category. And we want to add it to test1, so we're going to call this parent test. Now, test1 has parent test, so that's fantastic. What we might want to do is have it select cat after we've added it to the thing. So let's just go ahead and add a new category called test2. And you'll notice test2 now exists, and we can add right here, and we can go childish, because that's kind of what it is. And now parent test has childish. So what I'm seeing is this is working, boys and girls and people who might be watching. Hopefully there are lots of you. That would be cool. I'm really excited because that was pretty straightforward. And that's the way we like it. So can I do category list dot select my selected node equals cat. I'm curious to see if this works. So hopefully this loads faster, so I'm not waiting around for like a bunch while it like does who knows what is causing it to take forever. I don't know. It's probably stuff that I added in program or whatever, but okay. So if I add a category, we'll just call it unnamed category, that did not automatically get selected. What if I just make another category called unnamed category inside unnamed category? Well, that opened it, so that's cool. 2. Oh, if I didn't already have something selected, it didn't. Okay, this is weird. We'll put 3 inside of 2 just to confuse everyone. Okay, and now I selected it, but it didn't select it if I didn't already have something selected. So that's, or like it selected it, but it didn't show it? I don't even know. But hey, it worked. That's the important thing. That's what we want. We want to select a new category when you add a new category. Cool. I'm happy. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay. So there's another thing that we need to do. So I'm going to actually go ahead and call this add the category to the list of categories. Now the question that I have is, how much do I want you to be able to edit categories after they're existing, a thing that's made? I'm not sure how I'm going to approach that, because I think it makes sense to allow you to make a category, like to be able to move a category, but it's going to be a complicated-ish process because you have to get removed from your parent and add and added to a different thing. Like it's totally feasible. It's totally feasible, but It's how do I want to set that up. Renaming is also very straightforward, but again, how do I want to set that up? So it's something that I will want to do, but yeah. Set up the node. Okay. So one of the things I'm going to need to do is cat dot oh boy. Oh, right. Okay. Oh man. I could set the tooltip text to be like the full name or something. That doesn't sound at all useful. What might be useful would be to put like the number of tasks in it. It's not worth dealing with. Okay, so I'm going to need to category list dot click occurs when the control is clicked. What is mouse click? Occurs when the control is clicked by the mouse. Node mouse click occurs when the user clicks a tree node with the mouse. Okay. So is there a select before select after select occurs after the tree node is selected? Cool. That's what I want. So this right here, because tree nodes or tree whatever these tree views are different than other stuff, it works this way. I'm okay with it. So there's an after select. Okay, so here's actually an interesting user question that I have. I think, is it better to select the or to have the currently selected guy, whatever node, the currently selected node dictate? Okay, let's look at something here. Actually no, I want to. Okay, this is going to be category control. I want to add a label info. Public string information get return in label one.text. This is super hacky. I'm just kind of doing it to test stuff. Label one.text equal value. I mean, super hacky. I'm not going to keep it around. Is what I really mean by that. So what I want is category control dot information equals e dot node dot text. Okay, so I'm doing this because I want to run a couple of experiments. This is something that'll happen sometimes. I need to know how the tree node handles selection and clicking. For example, I want to potentially have right-click bring up a context menu for move and yeah, sure. New category. We're gonna call this one Tata. I want enter to work. I can make enter work. Okay, so right-clicking on this single click changes it. Right-clicking doesn't. So something else that I need to do is let's just add Tata. Let's add for now to Tata. Okay, so one of the things that you'll see is that clicking that selected Tata, right? Like if I click that minus, okay, I see what happens. It doesn't. It moves it. It bumps it back to Tata if I have for now selected. But if I have unnamed category selected, it doesn't. And again, right click makes a thing happen. Now, I need to go to file exit or I will be upset with myself. So there was something else here that was e.action. So by keyboard, by mouse claps, expand unknown. Okay, so I could go collapse and go if e.action does not equal collapse, do this, right? So then when I run this, what should happen theoretically is when I make that situation, like when I had for now selected and I closed Tata, it shouldn't change the selection. If that makes sense. So let's just test that. Category, we'll go with Tata again because that amused me. And category inside Tata of for now. And then if I have for now selected and I do that, this still selects it. So that apparently didn't do anything. So whatever. I'm not going to worry about it. It looks like it does mostly what I want it to do anyway. I'm okay with it selecting the parent in cases like that. Yeah. Okay. Whatever, I'm just going to stop it with that. Okay, so that gives me some useful information to work from. What I'm going to want to do is rather than work with this and having this inconvenient label sitting around that doesn't do anything that I care about, what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to add task controls to this. So here's the thing is if I'm adding, okay, so what information do I need in a task? So I might need to add more information to tasks. Actually, one of the things I am going to do is I am going to do the exact same ID thing. So I'm just going to come down here and go public int ID get private set. The ID / index of this task. So all tasks is going to, or when we do this, ID is going to equal all tasks dot count. Just because it's important to get this information. So I'm also thinking that these are going to have a category ID. So the ID of the category that they're in. So let's go ahead and add that. Category ID is -1. The ID of the category this task has been assigned to. So what I want to do is I actually want to go back in here. And I want to, instead of adding tasks that way, I want to go ahead and make a add task over here. A task to this category. So the task to add. The reason why I want to do this is I want to set the tasks category ID to this thing's ID. And it's important to me to kind of set that up through this so I can be certain that it's there. Yeah, so that's an important part of doing this. And then of course I need tasks to add task. Otherwise that doesn't work. So I need to go back to this fellow. And I need to, where is this? Right here. This, instead of going tasks.add, I want to make this .add task. task. So that's going to hook the task up properly. So it's very important that tasks are getting hooked up properly with the proper ID. And then in this stuff, I can work with them. Okay, that sounds good. I am getting startlingly hungry. Okay, so that's neither here nor there, but it's very, very accurate. So what I'm going to want to do is a couple of things. So the first one, internal void add task, like this. So there's a couple of important things. The big thing right here is actually if category list dot selected node dot tag needs to be, I don't know, I'm going to add a couple of additional parentheses there. No reason is equal to task dot category ID. Okay, I messed up my parentheses. One more there. In this case alone, we need to update adds a task to the display if it is in the current category. So this is actually a really good question. I think what actually makes sense is to change the selected category to match the task. In other words, like if you, let's say you have a category selected and you add a task to a different category, I think it should select that different category. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. So let's see, add task this way. Let's see. Current category. Otherwise, it selects the tasks category. Okay. So the added task. So what we're going to do is, if this is the case, we handle it differently than if this is the case. Because right here, what we need to do is category list dot selected node equals node category nodes task dot category ID. Now, one of the things that I want to add is if task dot category ID is less than 0, return. Fail safe if the task somehow has no category. Okay. If the task belongs to the current category, handle it differently than if the task belongs to a different category. So it's going to do this. This theoretically should trigger that. We'll find out, I suppose. And that should... So what I want to do right here is category view control add task task. Okay. So actually something else that I wanted to do both of these is if you do okay, I want to go tabs dot select tab 0. So if you're on another tab and you add a new thing, select the main tab if we're adding a category. select the main tab if we're adding a task. So I want to make sure that I'm selecting the tab if I'm adding one of these things. It just makes sense to me to do that. Task is not what I needed to click on. Category control is what I needed to click on. So what I want to do here is I want to add a couple of things, I think. I need to figure out how I want to approach this. Okay, so I think the most straightforward way is add task bool select equals true. Why is this? Oh, internal. Because of course it is. I don't mind, but I forget all the time, so it's a little annoying. So right here, I want to go category control dot add task, and I do want it to select it. Now right here, I want to close that so I stop clicking on it by accident. I want to add a let's see, public void select task by ID int ID. Okay, so this one is going to be selects the task with the given task ID. The task ID. So this one, again, if this is working the way that I think that it's supposed to be working, I'm going to want to category control dot select task by ID task dot ID. I'm going to need to do stuff that way. So adds a new task control to the list of task controls. Can select that task if desired. Selection here is a very loose term. It basically means scroll it to the top. The task to add, whether or not to select the task. Okay, so there's one more thing that we need to add to this, which is internal, probably gonna be public void select load category by ID int ID. So this loads the tasks in the category specified by the category ID. The category ID. Okay, so what we're going to do with this is right here, this guy dot load category by ID, and this is where we need actually we just need int e dot node dot tag. So that should be the category ID because that's what I set it to right here. Okay. What are we at? We're at like almost 30 minutes. This, of course, doesn't do anything right now, but controls dot remove at 1. So this is going to be a little weird. Let's see. Actually, I can just go clear controls dot add vertical scroll bar. Okay, so that's going to kind of like set it up, if that makes sense, I hope. And then this is going to like do stuff with tasks, but I think we are thoroughly out of the times. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. There's not a whole lot to show. There's a lot of infrastructure code-wise that I've done. So that's cool. Yeah. That's cool. Hopefully things don't start exploding, but pretty soon I want to be able to add tasks. And I guess that's something that's going to be very exciting. So we're going to start working with this guy. I'm going to actually tweak a few things with this. I'm going to set this to control light with a border style of fixed single. Fixed 3D looks like it goes down, which I don't want. I like fixed single for this sort of thing. And I also want to go to this guy and set its back color to control dark. So with those minor tweaks taken care of, I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. Take care, everyone. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.